Okay, we're back. And look, if you walked away from part one thinking this was all about finding personal freedom, you need to listen and listen very closely because the story doesn't end there. In fact, that's where their story begins. What if the very tools we're using to break our own chains are being secretly reforged, turned into something invisible, something stronger, something that wraps directly around our consciousness itself? Now, that's not some hypothetical question. It's happening right now. And we're about to pull back the curtain. You know how it starts. It seems innocent enough, right? Maybe your company offers a new wellness program. You get meditation apps, stress reduction workshops, maybe even breathwork sessions. They sell it to you as this amazing benefit, a way to help you cope with your demanding job. But what you have to understand is the real product here isn't your wellness. It's your obedience. This isn't an accident. It's a deliberate three-step hijacking. First up, what they call scientization. They take a deep, rich spiritual practice and they just boil it down to brainwaves and stress metrics. They strip it of any real meaning, any potential for true liberation. Then comes step two, instrumentalization. They take this, sterilized technique and they aim it like a weapon at one single target, making you a better, more efficient cog in their machine. And finally, commodification. They package this hollowed-out version up and sell it back to you as a perk, a solution to the very stress they created in the first place. And this quote it perfectly captures the sheer audacity of the whole thing. I mean, think about that for a second. Thousands of years of human wisdom developed for the sole purpose of freeing the mind, and it's been captured, repackaged, and repurposed to help you meet quarterly earnings goals. It is the ultimate spiritual heist. So yeah, this is not just some philosophical debate. This whole strategy has a very direct, very tangible target: your mind. Let's get into what they're actually trying to engineer inside your head. So it turns out that practices like mindfulness and breathwork are incredibly effective at enhancing this one specific brain function, your executive control. You can think of it like your brain's CEO. It's the part that lets you focus, ignore all those distractions, and control your impulses. Now, that's a powerful tool for self-mastery, right? Of course. But in the wrong hands, it's a tool for something else entirely. A corporation doesn't want you to be free. Let's be real. It wants you to be focused, but on their tasks. It wants you to suppress your natural impulse to question things, to take a break, to push back. They're not trying to help you find inner peace. They are trying to build a more docile, more stress-resistant, and a much more compliant workforce. They are literally hacking your executive control to serve their bottom line. And here's the most sinister part. All that data you generate in these wellness programs, your heart rate, your self-reported stress levels, it doesn't just disappear into the ether. Oh no. It feeds a new kind of surveillance system, an algorithm that can predict your breaking point, flag you for potential dissent, and manage you, not as a person, but as a human resource metric that needs to be optimized or, replaced. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, this sounds like some wild conspiracy theory, well, you're right. It is. It's a conspiracy, but the very long history. This goal, the dream of controlling human consciousness, has been the holy grail for people in power for decades. The only difference is, now they have much, much better tools. I mean, just look at the evolution here. Back in the 50s, the CIA had its MKUltra project. They used LSD, crude hypnosis. It was clumsy, it was brutal, all to try and crack the code of the mind. Today, the methods are subtle, right? They're wrapped in the friendly language of wellness and productivity. But the objective, it's identical. And the technology that's just around the corner, it makes MKUltra look like a child's toy. And this is not science fiction. This number, 74%, this is from a recent report on emerging tech. AI, when it's combined with brain-computer interfaces, can already pull words, your inner speech, directly from your brain signals with terrifying accuracy. The last truly private space you have, your own mind, it's already being breached. So what's the end game? Well, it looks a lot like a social credit system for your thoughts. Imagine a world where brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, are constantly monitoring and classifying your mental state. A world where an AI flags you for an ideologically problematic thought pattern before you've even finished thinking it. You wouldn't be judged for what you do. You'd be judged for what a machine decides you might do. And once a system can judge you, well, the next logical step is to enforce that judgment. Because this kind of technology, it's not going to stay in the lab or the workplace. A A system of judgment always needs an enforcement arm. And the final, horrifying step in hacking human consciousness is to turn it into a targeting system. I want you to picture this: an autonomous humanoid robot on patrol. It's not looking for you to commit a crime. It is scanning your brain state in real time, comparing it against a profile of what dissent or resistance looks like on a neurological level. And then it makes a decision, an enforcement decision, based not on an action you took, but on a thought it detected. This is pre-crime, enforced by a machine that just judged your soul. Now, take that terrifying idea and scale it up, from the individual to the entire population, from the street corner to the sky. Imagine a swarm of autonomous drones flying silently over a city. They're not just taking video footage. They are scanning the collective consciousness of the population below, identifying hotspots of fear, of anger, of dissent. And when their algorithm detects a pattern that crosses some predetermined threshold, the swarm can just move to autonomously neutralize the perceived threat. Total population-scale mind control, enforced from above. The picture we're painting is bleak. I get it. It is so easy to feel hopeless. But listen, this future is not inevitable. The final chapter of this story, it hasn't been written yet, but it requires us to wake up right now and understand that the old rules of privacy and freedom are basically obsolete. This is the fundamental question of our time. Seriously, your right to privacy online is totally meaningless if they have a backdoor to your brain. Freedom of speech is useless if you can be punished for a thought you haven't even said out loud. This is why we have to define a whole new paradigm of rights. We have to demand these rights now, before it is too late. The right to mental privacy, that means your thoughts cannot be seized, period. The right to cognitive liberty, you and you alone are sovereign over your inner world. The right to consciousness consent. Nobody gets to monitor or alter your mind without your explicit, fully informed permission. And this one is critical, the right to technological refusal. The right to just say no to this tech and not be punished or kicked out of society for making that choice. So that's the choice we face. The tools we explored in part 1, they can absolutely be a path to freedom, but only if we recognize that our consciousness is now the battlefield. It is the final frontier. And it will either be the next territory to be colonized and controlled, or it will be the line that we draw, the space we defend as fundamentally, unalterably human. The choice is ours. For now.